Okay, welcome to the next session for this conference. Today we will look at the issue of how do we navigate some of the cybersecurity challenges in reference to computational intelligence within the concept of computational simulation. So basically, we are trying to look at what are the benefits of computational simulation while we try to apply Internet into that. But doing that, what are the resulting cybersecurity implications into that? Just a brief synopsis of those two or three phrases. Computational simulation is a situation whereby we try to create a near real-world system whereby instead of trying to attack the real world or provide something for a real world, we try to simulate the real system in a controlled environment using computer models. And doing so mostly will require us to apply some intelligence, whereby we require the system to be automatically detected, monitored, be able to automatically suggest or think as the human being. So basically, we are trying to create an environment and simulate a real world situation, either current or future scenario. That is power to think as we think as time goes by. I'm sure with the current development of ChatGPT, you are all aware of the dangers and the possibilities of artificial intelligence in terms of any sector that we are working on at the moment. So that's a bit of introduction, and where we look at how do we apply AI or computational intelligence into the environment, and how does it apply for so many ways. Then we look at the issue of some of the challenges. Does such environment that use AI or intelligence to simulate environments, what are the challenges that we face, either in terms of resources, in terms of political or ethical issues, in terms of people accepting that concept happening, and also we look at more in terms of the issue of what are the cybersecurity issues. So the challenges can be either human factor, that's controlled by the government, or that is we can control that is happening within the cyber area. So anybody can remotely infiltrate the system that we are simulating with intelligence to make it do something that is not what we are planning to be doing. And finally, we look at the issue of the future aspirations. We look at basically where are we now in terms of how does intelligence allow us to make things more interesting or more secure or more efficient, and what does the future look like? Is it a bright future, or is it something that for us to worry about as time goes by? So, firstly, let's look at the issue of what are the importance of that. We need to address the challenges and both currently and future, because without looking at the challenges that we are going to face or possible challenges that we expect to face, then we are not being proactive. The game is that for you to be successful in the future or to be futuristic, you have to also be more proactive than reactive. Proactive in the sense that you should be able to break your solution that you are trying to create. So we are trying to simulate either a real cyber attack or maybe a critical infrastructure or provision for a country or a healthcare industry. We are trying to look at what's going on. And we are trying to develop systems that will make it better in terms of possibly medical diagnosis for the healthcare. But what if someone has broken into it? What impact will it have on it? So if you don't break it yourself, then someone will break it. So that's what we should look at, the challenges that we should be facing or we expect to face. Also, we need to look at that the current population is growing, the demand on computational simulation is growing. How will the future look like? So that we can be able to see, we cannot provide a solution that we don't know how it looks like in the future. but we can simulate the environment for the future. So we know how the environment looks like currently in the current context. We can predict what the future might look like based on data from previous years, and we can simulate the area that happens in the future as time goes by. We will cover things like the challenges we are going to face, consideration for future, and also some cybersecurity issues. So that's what we are going to cover in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So let's look at them one by one and see how can we address those challenges as time goes by. Before the challenges, let's first be more proactive first. Let's imagine a scenario whereby we are going to be attacked. Then how can we mitigate those security risks that are available? So one issue among them is the issue of big data. So the more you simulate an environment, and the more you use intelligence to simulate it or to make it efficient, the more data you collect, the more that data is required to provide a more real-world situation. If your data set is quite small, then you won't be able to simulate a real-time system as time goes by. So big data is something that we need to be aware about as time goes by. Also, such environment will require interdisciplinary collaboration, whereby we need to collaborate with different sectors. Yeah, to be able to model the situation. So if you're talking about smart city, we need to involve people in the construction roads, in buildings, healthcare, and vice versa. So you need to have people from different disciplines to be able to cover their samples by. Some of those elements will require us to use what's called explainable AI. Most AI, they reason about what's happening. By the way, AI is for here, we're talking about artificial intelligence. They provide things that they cannot explain to you why have they done so. Their reasoning is not really there for you to understand. But explainable AI is an AI that will be able to give you a step-by-step reasoning on why they came to a certain conclusion and how to make it better as time goes by. Also, we have to look at issue of resource constraints. Such constraint can be an issue in many ways. Then briefly, this issue about ethics and governance. Ethics in terms of our own ethics, and also what does the government tries to control as time goes by. We can apply those challenges in different domains, but for this talk, we look at the two industries. Look at the healthcare industry, industrial control systems, things like water treatment plants. Look at the financial services, things like trading, what happens in trading system, how can you simulate a trade, predict the trade. And then look at the issue of autonomous vehicles, like driverless cars. So we'll expand on those points that we covered here in the next few minutes or so. But the basic key over here is to be able to be more proactive, be able to understand why are you going to, from your experience and where you are now, and try to predict the future and how does that implicate in what you are doing as time goes by. So we talked about the big data earlier on briefly, but big data can be seen basically in the field of healthcare, whereby we have a large scale of medical data sets that need to improve decision diagnosis and treatments. I think this week, in terms of this week, saying that a first week of June 2023, we are seeing that as a result of AI, we are in the medical field, we are able to detect new variant of cancer that hasn't been detected before. So because of the big data that they have, was actually, was it on the 5th or on the 4th of June, there was a news that with a simple blood test, the system is able to detect about 50 different variants of cancer as time goes by. So that's how big data is applicable in healthcare. So intelligence over here and big data will be able to boost the data set and be able to make it easier for you as time goes by, to make it interesting and to be able to find nutritionists. We talk about the issue about interdisciplinary collaboration. To be able to model and simulate a complex system, things like climate change systems, things like power plants, water plants, smart cities. You need to have people from different backgrounds, from different disciplines, who understand how things are working. So having those people in the same page to work together is quite challenging, but that makes it more interesting as time goes by. Then look at the issue of explainable AI. Again, let's look at stock market prediction or portfolio optimization. For you to be able to look at that, you need to be able to understand the reasoning behind why that system or the computational intelligence is able to predict what's happening. So the AI that we are developing, it doesn't have to be just AI that's to be able to predict text, what you're writing text, but it should be able to explain to you what is going on. How can you make it interesting? How can you understand what's going on? So it have to give you some indications to understand the reasoning behind the decision made by the AI system. It's able to explain to you, okay, why have I used that model in reference to the model? So you have to be able to explain it to you and able to understand as a lay person, not as somebody that is more into computer science or artificial intelligence. The other part over here is about resource constraints. Basically, the more we predict the future, the more we have more variables to work with. So we have our design to be efficient enough, improve performance. We have to be able to get an efficient design. That's why if we are proactive and we know what we are looking for, then the design can be more simplified to be able to demand less resources as time goes by, make it more predictive for you as time goes by. The final point of this slide is about ethics and governance. If you're talking about issue of automation in either in healthcare or in driverless car, automobiles, then enabling self-drive cars to perceive the environment and make sure and safely is quite an issue. Currently, if you are driving your own car, you make eye contact with the other driver and allow them to cut the traffic if you're on traffic jam. How will AI do that? Will it be able to do that, or will it leave the people that are on the other part of the traffic to be stay there constantly until they and when there's not traffic signal to control? A governance issue, the government policies are currently behind the AI development. So you have to be able to consider about those things to make sure that everything is going on as it should be. So those are the challenges that we have discussed, and an example of challenges that are applicable in different industry domains. We look at healthcare, we look at automation of driverless cars, we look at the issue of financial sector. But in cybersecurity concern, what are the key things concerned about cybersecurity? All the domains that we have mentioned in the previous slides, they focus on data, whereby for the system to work properly, you have to invest in data storage to store data somewhere and to be able to use data to analyze, to predict, and to simulate the environment. So this data can be easily vulnerable to internal security. What happens if another company or another government, another industry is able to hack into the data? What happens if they modify the data? Okay, again about healthcare, look at the example of when with a simple blood test, they can detect 50 different variants of cancer. What if someone modified those variables in this model that makes it whereby that even though you don't have cancer, it might tell you have cancer about it. What's that impact with that, having our own diagnostic of that issue? So we have to make sure that we store the data securely and that is tamper-proof. We are able to tamper it as time goes by. Adversarial attacks. This can come in different ways. Again, if you look at the issue of industrial control systems earlier on, power plant. I think it was end of last year, 2022 or 2021, we have seen whereby attackers, adversarial attackers have been able to bring down power plants in the US, in other part of the world. So government plays different roles in that. So if you are simulating a complex system in a specific environment, although the environment is simulated, But if an adversary is able to attack the system or modify it, that can become a major security issue for individuals as time for goes by. Actually, as we speak this week, the 6th of June 2023, there's a large data leak in the world that has impacted many companies, including British Airways, other big companies in the world. So that issue over here can be done by a simple attacker or by sustainable attackers. The part issue over here is about insider threats. That's people that are working within the company, within the industry themselves. What happens if you have an employee that have an issue with the company or with other staff, and then that employee has left the company? What happened to that? They are insider. They can, okay, they have left, but then what's going on? An example that we should look at actually is the example of Snowden, the former CIA staff who left the CIA and then able to expose all the details about what they are doing via WikiLeaks. So even those that are in the system, they are also vulnerable. They have to make sure that they are trained properly to be able to make things easier and secure as time goes by. First over here is about the issue of interdisciplinary collaboration. We said earlier on, for you to simulate a complex system, either for today or for future, you need to have people from different disciplines, either architecture, construction, you name them. Some of them, they have no background in security. So how do you make sure that they are in line with the security requirements in terms of protecting their own part of involvement? They can give you good ideas that can going to help. But how does those ideas apply in terms of security and as time goes by? Again, governance and ethics. The government, I mean, we have seen towards the end of June, in the US, they have interviewed the founder of OpenAI, or the co-founders, about ChatGPT-4. And he advised that the government should be able to create regulations to regulate AI systems. So the government, the governance and ethics that are currently, they are not really in line with what's happening currently, or even the future to come. So they're almost behind. Look at the issue that they are saying that AI now, ChatGPT can easily predict things based on their some benefit, doesn't care much about the human feelings. So this thing have to be able to be covered in many ways for us to consider as time goes by. The last but not the least to consider over here is to talk about the issue of, again, look at the issue of medical diagnostics. Patients themselves, if the data has been exposed, what can they do about it? Or if the system has been infiltrated and given their own diagnostics or their own medicine, how can that be impacted as time goes by? For industrial control systems, what happens if an attacker is able to inject something in the power plant or water treatment facilities or transport system? That can be dangerous for the community or the society. How can you control that, the impact of it? How can you minimize that impact? If it's water system, then if the water system is contaminated, let's say the chemical level of the water system, then the entire city is at risk of being poisoned by that treatment. So you have to be able to be proactive in that area to see what's going to happen by. And then look at the system again, fraud detection. How can you, the system, be able to automatically detect fraud before it happens? Okay, what is happening now, but for the future is, what are the signs that sometimes someone is trying to initiate a fraud? Where will they be? How will you find them? How will you mitigate as time goes by? Autonomous vehicle, what happens if the system fails? Yes, most of them claim that they hand over control to the driver, but does it really work? Who do you blame in that situation? If things goes wrong with an autonomous vehicle or autonomous weapon, who do you blame? Do you blame the AI? Do you blame the developer? Do you blame the company? Or who do you blame? So the ethics and the governance over here is also missing. We have to be able to find a framework whereby how do we make sure that things don't go out of control? how can we take about ourselves time goes by? Again, encourage smart cities in terms of transportation, management strategies, application of public safety. So all these are issues for us, are challenges for us to consider now or in the future in regard to how computer intelligence applies in information environment for different domains. And to conclude, for this short keynote speak, the whole point of the keynote speak is just to trigger your thinking and your curiosity. It leaves you with some questions but not answers on what you can do. So yes, clearly CI, computational intelligence, do have a lot of benefit in any industry you can think of. They make things more efficient. They make things more, probably more secure. They make things more interesting as time goes by. But at the same time, the challenges are too much to worry about. There's more chance of the challenges to give you more drawback than the benefit that it provides for you. If not implemented properly, the challenges that we are facing, the cybersecurity risks that we are facing as a result of something large environment, and also using intelligence in that is quite huge. Let's pick one example, just healthcare. A simple tampering of a system will make the whole system or the whole system vulnerable in many ways. So you have to be able to be proactive on understanding as time goes by. Last but not least, what are the future perspective? The future might be bright, depends on what we teach the machines to do. I think the main issue is that where do we draw a line of using computational intelligence? How do we make sure that what we are doing is really going to help us and not going to come and backfire on us? So what we need to do is to make things aware that there's always a human in the loop. We shouldn't allow the whole system to be controlled by intelligence, but it should be backed up by some verified facts and we constantly be monitored as time goes by. So, as I said, simulation environment are quite a great way of trying to look at the current situation as well as the future situation of the system that we are currently working on. And computational intelligence allows you to make that more interesting as time goes by. It allows you to make things work viably for as time goes by. Having said that, we have looked at the key benefit of it. We have looked at some challenges and the future of what's going to happen. I hope you have taken something from this talk. The main take-home point for you is that computational intelligence has a great potential now and in the future if we use it wisely. That will only be true only if we are proactive in terms of trying to foresee what are the key cybersecurity challenges that we need to address before we take those results into reality as time goes by. Thank you for listening, and do feel free to send a question you have across to me. Have a nice day.